I love learning about AI. I love moving in this direction. But if it's all about what's the next shiny thing without focusing on our impact, our role in the future of AI, we're going to miss an opportunity. AI is an incredible tool to reclaim work because we are stuck in a world where we think employment and work are the same thing. And they, my friends, are not. I'm really excited to be with you and to close out the second day of the conference. We have heard so much about AI. And if you were listening carefully, you might have heard contradictions. And you might have heard dissenting opinions about it or different strategies that our people are using. So I just want to call your attention to that to let you know that we're still trying to figure this out. It's the wild, wild west right now. And I want to let you know that you are the CHROs and the people leaders that are going to take us into this new world. So that's pretty exciting. But will AI change the world as drastically as we have said it was? I really like what my new friend Boris said earlier to me. I said, "How was the conference?" And he said, "Well, we learned that AI is hype and that nobody knows what they're doing, and we're going to go back and keep trying." I really love that opinion. And honestly, there's some truth to he's smiling. He's like, "Oh, you had to call me out like that." Because I'm definitely the optimist here, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. But I think we should highlight the fact again that we don't know. Look at this stat here. I think this is really important for us to understand. 96% of C-suite executives expect AI to increase productivity. Everyone in this room, we expect AI to increase productivity in our organizations. However, 47% of employees who are actually using AI say they have no idea how to use it to meet your expectations. Furthermore, 77% say that AI has actually decreased productivity and increased their workload. For example, they're spending more time moderating AI-generated content, learning to use AI tools, and now they're being asked to do more work out of the blue. Wasn't AI supposed to reduce workloads? What's the problem here? The fact of the matter is if we are so excited about AI, so we run out and try and figure this out, or we're just buying new AI tech and we hand it to our employees and we say, pull productivity out of thin air. You will not achieve the expected productivity gains that you expect. We need to be strategic about this. And being strategic about AI sometimes is about going back to our roots. This is the strategy that we use at the Work3 Institute. I'm a co-founder of this company, and what we do is we help companies who are interested in emerging technologies and marry them with workforce strategies. If you're a company that's interested about AI, or even better, you're interested about Web3 technologies, the metaverse is not dead, just you wait. Decentralization and Web3 companies work with us to help push into the future of work. But this is nothing new, I think, to you, right? If you want to implement AI, let's start. 35% of our work is understanding the people, the who. Who are the stakeholders? Do you know in your organization the individuals who are excited about AI, who are pushing the boundaries of AI, who are currently taking proprietary information from your company, plugging it into ChatGPT and sending it off? Like, they are not the enemy. They are the super users that are going to help push us forward and use AI the way that it was intended, whatever that looks like. And then we move into process. What's the how? What's the when? What are our strategic objectives? Don't just throw it out, you guys. Let's really be strategic about how we implement AI. And then and only then do we talk tech. How do we find a tool that is going to help us match our strategic initiatives? Well, how do you know that AI is making us more productive? This is what we use, the CREATE model. These are the metrics that we chase in order to understand how AI is being implemented within the organization. Is it saving you money? Is it growing revenue? Are you actually being more efficient? Are we being more accurate? What about error reduction and time to market? Are we being more agile as we use AI? These are important questions that you need to grapple with before we even look at the tech, everybody. And I think we know this deep down. It's hard not to get wrapped up when it seems like every single day we are pummeled with thought leaders who say something like, AI is taking all of our jobs. AI will render us obsolete. Everyone's going to be dead by 2035. Like, it gets dramatic, doesn't it? I don't want to focus on the future so much. I want to focus on how do we move from proof of concept. We have this cool idea to full-scale deployment. This actually worked. We have the case study. We did see some of these metrics move. So let's talk about that. Here's a perfect example of AI hype, right? Klarna has been all over the news as the AI-first company. They made a bold claim that stated, we hope that AI will render all of our employees, all 1,800 employees, even our CEO, obsolete. They were one of the first companies to actually implement AI and fire employees as a direct result of AI. They fired 700 customer service reps in favor for an AI chatbot, which at the moment was like, here it comes. But months later, people have started to realize the chatbot kind of gives generic answers. It refers you to speak to a human fairly quickly. And now Klarna is starting to backpedal. This is literally a tweet that their CEO made not too long ago. He said, we just had an epiphany. Here comes the CEO speak. Are you ready? In a world of AI, nothing will be as valuable as humans. Okay, you can laugh at us for realizing it so late, but we are going to kick off work to allow Klarna to become the best at offering a human to speak to. So excited, more to come. Wait, so this AI-first company who was all about AI, it's replacing everybody, is now like, people matter. That human connection is important when we are working directly with other humans. HR, take note. Isn't that encouraging? I think this, to me, is a signal that our jobs are secure, that we have a lot of work to do. Yes, HR is evolving into something nobody knows. Let's call it people operations for now, whatever buzzword comes up. But what I think is that the CHRO is becoming more and more valuable within the C-suite, that you are spending more time coaching the CEO how to do people stuff. And it's beyond payroll and the old HR stuff. AI probably will automate all of that. Actually, that's my hot take for you today. Everyone gets to share what they think AI is going on. Again, just my opinion. AI is an incredible tool to reclaim work, because we are stuck in a world where we think employment and work are the same thing. And they, my friends, are not. Employment is kind of this construct that we designed in the industrial age, which says, you come work for me contractually, I'll give you X amount of dollars for Y amount of hours. And it's been that way ever since. Why are we still doing it that way? This way is great for button pushing, right? Your employees push a button. Well, AI is great at automating, those task completers. So it will probably take those jobs that can be a cog in the wheel. But work, on the other hand, what is work? It's collaboration with other individuals. It's creative thinking. It's building trust with our clients. Is AI building trust with our clients or not? I don't know. But if it's not going to build trust, then we need to move away from it. AI is great at completing tasks. It does not replace talent. Let's play this back in, probably even 6 months and see where we're at. But I truly believe that at my core. I think that this is a great example for us. Have you seen these AI interviews going viral? AI interviews are taking the job hunting process by storm. Essentially, you're a candidate, you come into an interview, and instead of a human, it's an AI tool. And I get it, HR. From an HR standpoint, how awesome is this? Because we can scale so many more interviews. It's great. People data flowing into us. Love that. But what about the candidate experience? This is what they're posting on TikTok. You want to see? This is what's going viral.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining the interview today. I am so excited to talk to you and get to know more about you. For our first question, let's circle back. Tell me about a time when. Let's circle back. Tell me about a time when. Let's circle back. Let's circle back. Tell me about a time.
I don't even know what to do.
When
Pilates, vertical bar 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 Pilates, I Pilates, vertical bar Pilates, vertical bar.
Touch bracelet, it's 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 touch.
The look on his face is classic. He's like ready to go. He's got his tie on, and he doesn't even know what's happening. Again, HR, this might be a great option for you, right? We've heard sessions of like, AI is great because you don't have an old HR person coming in and asking a 20-something-year-old questions. They might prefer it. But this is their experience today, not in the future. It's today. What message are we sending to them? We are telling them that we are willing to use AI as a proxy for human interaction. This, to me, feels like we don't value our people in the workplace. So we need to be intentional about how we use AI. Don't just buy the shiny interview tool, plug it in, and off you go. This might be the right solution for you. I'm not saying that. I am saying you need to be focus in on the employee experience, on the workforce experience. All right. I think this is a wake-up call a little bit for us, HR. I feel like I love the work that we get to do. I spend a lot of time with HR individuals. I have been at this conference for 2 days now, interacting with most of you and trying to understand what challenges you're facing. I have never met a group of people who are so passionate about the people function within our organizations. You are literally the last line of defense when it comes to making the case that humanity matters at work. But this stat just came out, and it blew my mind. I was listening to a Josh Bersin podcast. He pulled this stat out, and it was a wake-up call. 54% of employees trust AI over an HR professional. 75% of work prefer performance reviews from AI over an HR individual. Despite our best efforts, people don't trust us. Did you guys read the state of the global workforce by the Gallup report that just came out last month? They did not mince words. Work is headed in the wrong direction. Guys, that's our job. That's what we do. We are at this conference to try and figure out how do we get work back on track. And I'm not sure if the conversations we're having here are the right ones. I love learning about AI. I love moving in this direction. But if it's all about what's the next shiny thing without focusing on our impact, our role in the future of AI, we're going to miss an opportunity. All right? Don't walk away from this conference thinking, AI is something down in the future. It is now. It will change everything. We are the ones that get to do that. It's interesting, Gallup, they actually give a lot of, research, and they do a lot of work to help us understand what we need to do. They're here in employment, right? So all of their, the opportunity that we have in front of us, it's all about training better managers. If we can engage our managers, we will reclaim the $8.1 trillion in global lost productivity from employee disengagement. And that's great, but what I want to do with you today is just broaden kind of the scope a little bit and look at the expectations of employees and the values that are shifting underneath our feet. So this is a book that Deborah Perry-Pashoni, my co-author, and I just published in January with Harvard Business Review Press. We boldly declare employment is dead, that it no longer serves us. Yes, it is alive, but it is a dying form of work that doesn't get the most out of our people. How disruptive technologies are revolutionizing the way that we work. We make the bold claim. Traditional models of employment are failing to adapt to the needs of the modern workforce. Well, what are the needs of the modern workforce? Are we listening to them? I'm not talking about an employee engagement survey that you put out once a month or once a year. It's long. Employees aren't honest. We try and do our best with it, but that data doesn't really ever turn into actionable. I'm not getting on a high horse right now. I just have spent a lot of time with employee engagement surveys, and we don't truly understand what employees need. We outline them in our book. the 10 operating principles of Work 3. These are the non-negotiables of the modern workforce. I ask HR leaders all over the globe, can you give your employees any of these? And if the answer is no, why should they work for you? I get it. It's an employer market right now. We're sitting pretty. People are staying put. They're not leaving as much, but have we considered beyond the next quarter? Isn't there a Great Resignation 2.0 down there somewhere? When that moment happens, people are not going to be jumping from job to job. They will be entering new work ecosystems where they get some of these reclaimed. We can't maybe give them all of them, but if I can, take my skills and put them on the blockchain, and AI tells me, here are the projects based on your skill set that you can go work for. You don't need a boss. You have the flexibility that you want. You're a single mom, so you only want to work 4 hours a day. That option doesn't really exist today in a way that is sustainable. And so we're talking not just about AI, but all of these emerging technologies, smart contracts, a DAO, or decentralized autonomous organization, is going to make going to work as easy as pulling up your phone and clicking on an app. They want a partnership. They don't want to work for a company. They want to work with a company. Transparency. They want you to be honest. Don't lie to us about where we're at with our company. They want autonomy to make decisions. You hired me to make decisions for my role. Why are you not letting me do that? Ownership. Hey, man, I created a lot of value for this company. I just want a cut of it. I want beyond just a paycheck. If you are benefiting so much from my work, I want a part of that. Decision-making. Flexibility has kind of been in the news a lot. They want flexibility, upskilling, incentives, interoperability, and community. I just want to hone in on a couple real quick. It is well documented at this point that employees want flexibility in their work arrangements. And when the economy starts to free up and they have more options again, why would they stay? Why would they work for you? When they can go find a company that's hey, we're their competitor, you get to work from home 1 extra day, or whatever it looks like, that is a competitive advantage that costs nothing, and it's going to open up a lot of doors, okay? So instead of just focusing on black and white, back to the office or not, what if we individualized employees' work schedules? Let them go home and pick up their kids because we know that they are crushing it from 7 to midnight at home. Our circadian rhythm can teach us that. Ownership. We talked a little bit about this. This is more of we're pushing into Web 3 here, okay? I want to let you know that we're talking about all these technologies. I'm showing you the principles behind it, right? Ownership is essentially contribution-based compensation. This is not an ESOP or employee stock ownership program. This is not arbitrary stock in the company that vests over time. This is value-based compensation. If you add value to the company, you get paid for that, regardless of if you're a full-time employee or not. And what this has done is created entire ecosystems that you probably have never seen. How about this? Some of you probably have kids that are playing Roblox. It's a big deal. And it's not just a video game. Don't think when they're on Roblox that they're just playing. This is the precursor to the metaverse. And it's happening right now. Last year, game developers earned a record $741 million. These are not full-time employees. These are just like a 16-year-old kid who loves video games. And so they get on their developer exchange program, and they build a community and a game, and people can come in, and they get paid based on that interaction. Anne Shoemaker is a great example. She built a world called Mermaid Life. And it was just a silly video game where you get to be a mermaid and swim around. Because of this game, every year since she was 16, she has made $500,000. She's an outlier and made Forbes 30 under 30. But think about a normal contributor. The average contributor made $62,000 last year by playing Roblox. Ask this generation if they would rather come work for you where they are told exactly what they need to build, or get to be a free-thinking developer and design worlds with their friends and still make enough money to pay the bills. This is a no-brainer. If you're curious why Gen Z doesn't want to come work for you, I'm just saying. This is part of it, okay? And finally, incentives. I want to show you a video here. There was a video that went viral on TikTok. where an executive was out on a walk and she asked a question, how do we get 20 to 30-something-year-olds to work a full day with urgency? And boy, did they respond.
Is anybody else having the troubles that we are with getting these millennial 20 to 33-year-old professionals to work a full day with urgency?
Why don't they care? Because they don't have money, and they're not going to sacrifice their soul if they're not even going to get paid enough to afford the things that can fulfill them.
Young people know that if they put in that extra work, it won't reward them the way that that work used to be rewarded.
There's no incentive anymore. At least 30 years ago, the incentive was you could work 40 hours for 40 years, afford a home, afford a living, have retirement, and have hope. You took those incentives away from the younger generations. You want them to work 40 hours a week for 50 years without being able to buy a home, with living paycheck to paycheck, working 40 hours? You want them to work 40 hours in corporate America plus commute and then drive Uber on the weekends just to afford groceries? Corporate America needs to change their incentive. Where's the 4-day work week? Where's the more than 12-day PTO? Where's the 9 to 3 job with the same pay instead of 8 to 5:30? You need to change the incentive. You have corporate America bragging about corporate profits at an all-time high, and yet middle-class people can't buy a house and get by and putting groceries on credit cards.
Hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying, this is what workers are saying on a platform that they feel safe in, and they're having conversations like this. This video had 20 million views because it resonates with the younger generation. You can take this however you want. Doesn't matter. Or you can say, wow, we should probably figure this out because they matter. It's very interesting. The reason why we need to figure it out is because there is a massive talent chasm that will consume our organizations if we are not prepared. There are workers leaving on both sides in both generations. For example, 56% of C-suite executives today are boomers. They're baby boomers, even though they make up 12% of the workforce. So we already have an underrepresentation of generations within the C-suite. Both of these numbers will be 0 in the next 8 to 10 years. Can you imagine the leadership experience vacuum, the knowledge transfer that didn't happen to the younger generation because we weren't prepared for this mass exodus? Now, Gen Z is expected to fill the gaps. They make up 27% of the global workforce today, which was shocking to me. But look at this. 49% of Gen Z are considering leaving their industries entirely. Why? They've said it's due to high burnout. I've been asked to do a lot, not getting recognized. I've been burned out since 2022 with the pandemic. Doesn't seem like the company is going to change anytime soon. In fact, they did a mass layoff, and now here I am picking up the slack of the workers that got fired on my team. They're burned out. They also have a growing distrust for the social work contract. Remember employment work? Employment over here doesn't make sense to them anymore. Why would I give you so much of my time for so little? I can't even buy a house. And it's only getting worse. All right? We have generations leaving both sides of our organizations. And don't think that AI is just going to come and magically save us. This is a deeply human problem that requires intergenerational collaboration. So what do we do? How do we get there? I'll give you 3 pieces of advice, and just note that most of this is kind of independent of AI, but there's a lot of AI infused within this. So if you're doing the normal HR functions well, I think you're going to be fine. But some of those things are like a talent marketplace. It used to be kind of a novel thing. What is an internal talent marketplace? To me, it's just like a gig economy within the organization. You've got kids who don't want to fit into a job description anymore, a very specific cog that you play at our organization. They went to college. They learned all of these skills. They want to use these skills. And guess what? The company wants to use those skills, and they want to help you flourish with your career. We just don't really have a vehicle for doing that. That's what an internal talent marketplace is. And I will say that there is a global talent marketplace that's being built right now that says you don't have to work for that company directly, you can work anywhere. But at least today, we can offer the career development that employees want while keeping them internal at the organization. AI-powered mentorship. Imagine this, right? We've talked a lot about AI. This is actually happening today. You have older workers who have generational knowledge, industry knowledge, and they're just going to retire. You can actually use AI to infuse the AI agent with that knowledge, and now you have a younger generation who are digital natives who already know how to use AI. They can ask this, this AI agent, and they can get help immediately. They don't have to run to the desk of Bob, who's retiring in a week, and say, how do you do your job? You've been doing the job for so long. How do we get in here? They can kind of help transfer that with AI. That will help bridge the talent chasm. And then finally, let's reimagine incentives. Let's take baby steps here, okay? The carrot and the stick was a great tool once upon a time. Doesn't really work for employees today. And we can do this generationally, right? Baby boomers, they want to retire with grace. They want to retire at a time where their legacy will be valued. So how can we incentivize them to do that? Maybe with an internal talent marketplace where they can come in 3 hours a week and it doesn't have to be so black and white. Millennials, we got a lot of student debt. We want to get rid of it. Maybe you can help pay some off. Just an idea, okay? Or for the younger generation, they don't even value money as much. They value experience. So are we providing them with some sort of new sabbatical? Are we allowing them flexibility in the way that they work? Are we building communities within the organization beyond just a ping pong table? There's a lot to think of here. We've talked about a lot of things, and I'm going to wrap it up with this question here, but I recognize that I am an American, and I have come on the stage to speak to a bunch of European leaders about how to do people stuff better. And I recognize we are not setting an example right now. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to fight tooth and nail to promote the work that we know is possible, to elevate our workforce, to embrace diversity and inclusion, to make sure that the workplace is a good experience for everyone. That is my mission, regardless of who's in power. And I just want to let you know that we call out to you. And we say, please keep going. Please don't give in. Please show fervor and courage in this moment because we need to hear it. We need to feel it from you. We truly do right now. What do people need from their leaders the most right now? I was asked this on a podcast recently. I said, trust without hesitation. It's trust. It's been trust forever. They need trust in their leaders. But they quickly corrected me. They said, no. Trust just got beat out for the number one spot, and it's not even close. It's hope. And it's not even close. Employees are so desperate for hope that they are begging it from their leaders. Hope that they won't get laid off by AI. Hope that they won't get laid off in a mass layoff. Hope that their work will matter. You can give employees hope today by simply listening to them. If you listen to them, they will tell you exactly what they need. They will tell you probably how to implement AI. And when we do our best to give them everything that they are asking for, and we can't do it all, I understand. But let's take some of the HR stuff off, guys. We don't need it anymore. And let's embrace humanity again in the workplace and say we've got this together. The number one thing that you can do in 2025 amidst the chaos of today's world is instill hope. Thank you.